Hey, everybody, welcome back. We are going to talk a little bit about talking to kids about tough topics like cancer, chronic illness. POGDad did one earlier this week, but I have a couple other topics that I want to cover. All right, so we're gonna get started. Just a reminder, please make sure you click that like button, subscribe if you haven't and you've been coming back. It's always great, and we love when you guys leave comments and share your own thoughts and stories. We read every single one and we appreciate all of you very, very much. We are often asked about ways people can support us financially as well as we go through these ups and downs of this cancer journey. And so the link to our GoFundMe is in the description below and probably popping up right around here as well. So earlier this week, POGDad, Josh, my husband, posted a video about talking to kids about cancer and other tough things as well. And I sat and I watched it after he was done and was like, wow, like I have a pretty awesome kid, but I also have a really awesome partner as well. And every day, I feel like as Brayden, our son, gets older, I am more and more impressed with just how composed he is in a lot of ways. And a lot of it does have to do with everything that our family has gone through and the experiences that he has had. And so, just as Josh was saying, every family is different, every child is different. And so, if you get to a point where you are having to contemplate sharing really difficult news with a child, that's one of the most important things to remember is that every child is different. You know your child's best, and you can always find assistance. Often, even reaching out to a pediatrician or anyone like that, they may have resources for you as well if you're going to have some of those difficult decisions. There's lots of things online as well, and they go in lots of different directions. So just be prepared for that if you do your own research and your own searching for under that topic. But there was a few things that Josh didn't cover that I want to make sure is really clear. Specifically, if you reach a point where you are going to share these hard things with your kids. And have this very serious conversation. And I think the most important thing that you need to make sure you do is that you use clear, concise language. Don't use euphemisms. Don't use things like that. If you're talking about death, you're going to have to use that word. It's going to suck, but you're going to have to do it. And here is my example. Just over the last week or so, we've actually been having a bit of a family crisis with one of our dogs. He just all of a sudden was having a really hard time. Like one night he was just panting a whole lot all night long, was acting like he was in pain. We brought him to the vet. They couldn't really figure out what was going on. They saw a little bit of soft tissue damage around like his lower back and tail. They sent him home, with some anti-inflammatories, and we're like, well, just have him rest. By the next morning, he couldn't walk at all. He could put no weight on his back legs. And in fact, it seemed like possibly a neurological issue. Like it was like his brain wasn't communicating with that lower part of his body. So we had to call the vet back. He's actually still at the vet right now as I'm recording this. I'm hoping that we'll get some better news soon. But one of the things that the vet told me within the first day or so that he actually was staying there and they're kind of monitoring this is that we need to be really realistic in that he is not a small dog that we can put a diaper on and carry around in our purse. He's a 50-plus-pound dog. The first day that he was having these bigger issues that we kept him at home, he kept having accidents on himself. And so both Josh and I together were trying to handle this and clean him up and maneuver him around. And that's not something we could do for a long period of time. We have to work. We have all these other things. And so she wanted to be really clear from the onset that if he didn't start making progress, that was going to have to be a conversation that we had, just based on overall quality of life and all of that. And that's a hard thing. I mean, losing a pet is devastating in general, but having to make that choice, for anyone who's had to go through that, it's not easy and crushing. But right now, like I said, as I'm recording this, I don't know where we're at. I got a call yesterday and he was making a little bit of improvement, so our fingers are crossed. But we decided we needed to have a conversation with Brayden about the fact that Milo, our dog, may not be coming home. And that is how we worded it. That if he didn't get better, that we had to think of his quality of life and what we were able to maintain, and that he wasn't, he was likely kind of the same thing, that if he didn't improve, that he would not be coming home. And I'm glad the conversation didn't end there, because using that euphemism of not coming home, he took that to mean that he was just going to get to stay and live at the vet. Not that we were going to be putting him down, another euphemism, so be careful of that one, but that essentially that he was going to die. And we had to go, whoa, buddy, I'm really sorry we weren't clear. But no, if he's not coming home, that means he's not going to be alive anymore. And he goes, oh. And unfortunately, in our family, we had a cockatiel when he was really little, and he really liked Apollo, and Apollo passed away. But we also had a young family member who passed away too when he was younger. And he's like, well, I've dealt with some of that before, and we talked about, maybe we could all be there if we had to make that choice. And he goes, I think I want to be there if it comes to that. So also, wow, super impressed with that. But yeah, so message for that is, don't use euphemisms with kids. Make sure that they actually understand your message. They understand what you're talking about. Otherwise, you're looking at misunderstandings that could cause a lot of heartache and a lot of confusion down the road. So save yourself and your family any additional grief, and just make sure that you're using as clear of language as possible if you're having these difficult discussions with your kids. That's the main thing I wanted to talk about. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is that depending on where you live, there are probably programs and other supports for families and kids for people that are going through either cancer or other chronic illness, terminal illness, that are there to support families and children, particularly. In the Portland area, which is where we live, there is a center called the Dougie Center, and it is specifically a center for children, for grieving children and families. Now, that makes it sound like that's something for children who have experienced loss. And it is, but it's also important that a lot of these programs also offer supports for children who are in situations like Brayden is, whose parent has been diagnosed with a debilitating illness. Maybe it's not terminal, but maybe it is. And they can offer supports, counseling, and other things, as well as, I believe they have like groups as well, where other kids come in as well, so he can get to know other kids who have been going through similar things as well. We have not gone to the Dougie Center ourselves. We haven't felt like, and he has not wanted to kind of take that step. He doesn't feel like he needs it right now. Amazingly, when he has felt that he needs some additional support or additional help, he has taken the steps to reach out to his school counselor and talk to them without us saying anything. So yay, another like good for him moment. And then another really cool program that I wanted to mention, and it is available in multiple areas, is called Camp Kesem. And that one is specifically for children whose parents usually have died or are suffering from cancer. And it is a week at summer camp for free, where they get to meet other kids that have gone through something similar as well, but it is a chance for them to be kids and to experience the joy that summer camp can bring. They do usually, sometimes they'll bring in additional supports and things, but the focus is not to talk about that trauma. It is the chance to let them be kids and kind of get away from all of that for just a little while. So that is Hospitalius too. I'm going to put that link in the description below because I do believe that they offer programs across the United States and possibly in other locations as well. So check the description below if that's something you're interested in and want more information on. And yeah, so kind of a short, quick, I guess it's not super short, but video. Again, every child is different. Every family is different. You know your situation best. Please consider leaving some comments below. What do you think about this topic? Have you ever had to do this? Have you ever had to have a conversation with your child? Or were you the child that someone had to have a conversation with around chronic illness or cancer, anything like that? We would love if you would share your story. Don't forget, we have also started a Discord server for all of these community members where you can come together, we can meet, we can chat, and just a non-stressful area, no judgment, to kind of come together and get to know one another. So all of that information is in the description of the video. Again, appreciate you guys very much, and I'll see you next time.